The Rubik's Cube, it's a puzzle, it's a challenge, it's a source of both immense frustration and immense satisfaction. Millions around the world have attempted to solve it, many have given up, defeated. But don't worry, we're going to crack this code together. This colourful cube might seem intimidating, but fear not. With a little patience and some practice, you'll be twisting and turning your way to victory. We're going to break down the solution into manageable steps. Think of it like climbing a staircase one step at a time. This isn't about speed cubing. No, this is about understanding the logic. It's about appreciating the elegance of the solution, and most of all, it's about the aha moment when you finally see the solved cube in your hands. So are you ready to embark on this journey? Let's unravel the mystery of the Rubik's Cube together. Before we begin twisting and turning, let's familiarize ourselves with the cube itself. Imagine holding the cube right in front of you. You'll notice it's made up of smaller cubes, or cubies as we like to call them. There are 3 types of cubies: centers, edges, and corners. Centers are the easiest to spot. There's one in the middle of each face, and they never move from their position. They tell you which color that face should be in the solved state. Edges are the cubies with 2 colors. They're found between the centers. Finally, corners, as the name suggests, occupy the corners of the cube. They have 3 colors. Understanding these basic building blocks is crucial to understanding the moves we'll make. Think of it like a football team. The centers are your fixed goalposts, the edges are your midfielders, and the corners are your strikers. Each has a specific role to play in achieving the final goal, a solved cube. Now let's talk about how we're going to communicate with our cube. Understanding the language of the Rubik's Cube is essential for solving it efficiently. Just like any language, the Rubik's Cube has its own notation system. This system helps us describe the movements and rotations needed to solve the puzzle. Don't let this intimidate you. It's quite simple. Once you get the hang of it, you'll find it as easy as reading a book. We use letters to represent each face of the cube. R for right, L for left, U for up, D for down, F for front, B for back. Each letter corresponds to a specific face. A letter by itself means you rotate that face 90 degrees clockwise. This is the most basic move in the notation system. Add an apostrophe after the letter, and you rotate it 90 degrees anti-clockwise. This small symbol makes a big difference in the cube's orientation. For instance, R means to turn the right face clockwise, while R means to turn it anti-clockwise. These are fundamental moves you'll use frequently. Finally, a number before a letter tells you how many times to turn it. This helps in making multiple rotations without confusion. For example, 2R means to turn the right face twice, which is the same as turning it 180 degrees. This notation is crucial for more advanced algorithms. It's like learning a dance, except instead of your feet, you're moving the faces of the cube. Practice these basic rotations until they become second nature. Get comfortable with the language. The more you practice, the more intuitive it will become. Soon these letters will become second nature, and you'll be fluent in Rubik's. Mastering this notation is the first step to becoming a Rubik's Cube expert. Our journey begins with the white cross, the first step in solving the Rubik's Cube. The goal here is to get all the white edges on the top layer, forming a cross with the white center in the middle. This is a crucial foundation for the rest of the solve. We're not worried about getting the other colors on the white edge pieces to match their respective centers just yet. That will come later in the process. This is just about getting that white cross up top. It's a simple yet essential step. There's no strict algorithm for this stage, as there are many ways to get the white cross. Each solver might have their own unique approach. The key is to use your intuition and the basic rotations you've learned. Trust your instincts and practice those fundamental moves. Look for white edge pieces and try to maneuver them to the top layer, aligning them with the white center. This might take a bit of trial and error. This stage is all about observation and experimentation. Pay attention to how the pieces move and interact. Don't be afraid to twist and turn the cube, trying different things. Sometimes the solution comes from unexpected moves. You'll be surprised how quickly you start to see patterns and develop strategies. These patterns will become more apparent with practice. Remember, Rome wasn't built in a day, and a Rubik's Cube isn't solved in a minute. Patience is key. Take your time, enjoy the process, and celebrate those small victories, like completing the white cross. Each step forward is a step closer to solving the entire cube. Section 5. Mastering the bottom corners. With our white flag or cross firmly planted, it's time to build the foundation. This foundation is crucial as it sets the stage for the rest of the solve. We'll now focus on solving the white corner pieces and completing the entire white layer. This step is essential for creating a solid base to work from. This is where things start to get a bit more technical. Precision and attention to detail become increasingly important. We'll be using algorithm-specific sequences of moves to achieve our goal. These algorithms are like the secret codes that unlock the puzzle. Don't let this scare you, they're like recipes. Just follow the instructions step by step. Follow the steps and you'll end up with the desired outcome. It's all about practice and repetition. One common algorithm for this stage is the right-hand rule. This rule is a fundamental technique in solving the cube. It involves identifying a white corner piece on the bottom layer and performing a sequence of moves to bring it to its correct position. This might take a few tries, but persistence is key. The exact sequence depends on the corner's orientation, but with practice, you'll get the hang of it. Each move brings you closer to mastering the cube. This stage requires patience and precision. Every move should be deliberate and calculated. You'll be repeating this algorithm multiple times, adjusting it slightly based on the position of the corner pieces. Consistency is crucial here, but with each successful placement, you're one step closer to conquering the cube. Celebrate each small victory as it brings you closer to the final solution. Section 6. Solving the middle layer. With the white layer complete, we move our attention to the middle layer. The objective here is to get all the edge pieces in the middle layer in their correct positions and orientations. This might sound daunting, but fear not, we have algorithms to guide us. One commonly used algorithm for this stage is the FRURF algorithm. This elegant sequence of moves allows us to insert edge pieces from the top layer into their rightful places in the middle layer. The key here is to correctly identify the edge piece you want to move and position it appropriately before executing the algorithm. Remember, practice makes perfect. Don't be afraid to try, make mistakes and try again. Each attempt brings you closer to mastering this fascinating puzzle. Section 7. Forming the yellow cross. We're now entering the final frontier, the top layer. Our first objective is to create a yellow cross on the top face. Notice, I said, yellow cross not solved yellow face. We're not worried about the orientation of the yellow edges just yet, simply that they form a cross. We'll be employing a new set of algorithms here, specifically designed to manipulate the top layer. One such algorithm is the sexy move, so called because of its smooth, flowing nature. This algorithm helps to align the edges to form our yellow cross. This stage can be a little tricky, as it requires you to visualize the movements in 3D. But don't despair. With practice, you'll develop an intuitive understanding of how the algorithms affect the top layer. Section 8. Aligning the top layer edges. With our yellow cross shining brightly, it's time to get those yellow edges to match up with their corresponding centerpieces. This stage is all about observation and applying the right algorithm at the right time. We'll be using a combination of algorithms here, including the Sooner and the anti-Sooner algorithms. These algorithms allow us to swap adjacent edges on the top layer without disrupting the yellow cross we've worked so hard to create. This stage is a bit like a game of chess. You need to think a few steps ahead, anticipating the outcome of each algorithm you apply. But with practice, you'll develop the foresight and strategic thinking needed to solve this puzzle. Section 9. Positioning the top corners. We're in the end game now. Only the yellow corner pieces remain to be positioned correctly. Our goal is to get them in their correct locations, even if their orientations aren't quite right yet. For this stage, we'll rely on a particularly useful algorithm known as the corner swap algorithm. This algorithm allows us to swap the positions of two corner pieces on the top layer, bringing us closer to our goal of a fully solved cube. This stage requires careful observation to identify which corner pieces need to be swapped. Don't be afraid to experiment and try different combinations. The satisfaction of correctly positioning each corner piece is a reward in itself. Section 10. Orienting the top corners for the final triumph, the final hurdle. We've positioned all the pieces correctly, but some of the yellow corners might be flipped. Our final task is to orient those corners and finally declare victory. We'll be using a two-part algorithm for this final stage. This algorithm, often referred to as the corner twisting algorithm, allows us to flip the orientation of a corner piece without changing the position of any other pieces. This final stage requires precision and attention to detail, but with each successful twist you'll feel an increasing sense of accomplishment. And then, finally, the moment you've been waiting for, a perfectly solved Rubik's Cube. Remember, the key to solving a Rubik's Cube is patience, practice, and a good dose of perseverance. Don't be disheartened by initial struggles. Keep practicing, and you'll be amazed at what you can achieve. Now go forth and conquer that cube.